PR Woman of the Month. I have here with me Mrs. Ginikanwa Frank-Durugbor. She is the head of comms at Lafarge Africa Plc. She has 18 years experience in the comms and PR industry. She likes creating innovative ideas. She's an effective communication strategist. She has an MSc in Media and Comms from Pan Atlantic University in Lagos. She has a bachelor's in Foreign Languages and Literature from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. She is passionate about art, cuisines, and fashion, and she's also a writer. So please welcome with me Mrs. Ginikanwa Frank-Durugbor on this episode. Good afternoon, Ma.
Hi, Praise. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for the introduction.
You're welcome. So my first question is, I want you to tell us how you got into the public relations industry. What was the journey like for you from school? What was the journey like? How did you get into the PR industry?
All right, so thanks. I think it goes back to my background, growing up at home. My family, my dad was a professor of theater arts, my mom a trained fashion designer. So I grew up, seeing creative things around me. Even my siblings as well are also very creative. So that kind of inspired me to think about what I would like to be in future, and also just being who I was. I liked colors, I liked art, I liked to write even as a child. And that led me to some of the decisions I made earlier, later on in life. And, just coming from secondary school, being more inclined to arts, doing, all these art-related subjects in secondary school, to making a decision to study foreign languages and literatures for my bachelor's at the University of Nigeria. Then after that, I thought about how can I fully express myself in the corporate world or the corporate sector. And then just digging deep, I found that going towards communications would give me that opportunity to express myself to the fullest. And so I started looking for a good place to work, and luckily through references, interviews, and all of that, I was able to secure a very good job. I can remember very well my first boss, Mr. Dedayo Ojo, who introduced me to public relations and communications at the time. And I became fully interested, in its full scope and what it entailed. I think also what made it very interesting to me was that, through communications and public relations, you can positively influence any audience and cause a shift in the way people perceive someone or a brand, and so on and so forth. So that's really how it started. And then I thought about, going further to understand the basic principles of communications, media management, and so on and so forth. I decided to do my master's in media and communications, at the Pan Atlantic University in Lagos. So that's really my journey. It's been a very exciting and interesting one so far.
Okay. My second question, thank you so much. My second question is, what is the most challenging part of working in the PR and comms industry, especially as a female practitioner?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So first, I would like to say that I don't really see challenges. I see opportunities. I'm not saying that challenges exist. They exist. However, I see them as an opportunity to improve. I see them as an opportunity to become, to understand how things should be done. All right. So you have a challenge. If you have a positive mindset, you can actually learn a lot from challenges. The second thing I would like to say is that challenges are challenges, irrespective. And my belief is that, whether you're a male or a female, you would encounter challenges. The third thing I'd like to say is that because of the experience I've had so far, I work for an organization that is an equal opportunity employer, so whether you're a male or a female, once you're able to get your job done, yes, you're able to do the job, you get the job and you do it. So it has nothing to do with you being male or female. And so that's how I approach it, right? So doing my job and being a female in the PR industry, the challenges that you typically face would be on the job, right? Challenges
Yes.
around engagements, crisis situations, or even just, pulling through a project and so on and so forth. So it's about, just focusing on what is before you, understanding, the scope of the work. When the challenges come, you have the mindset to go head on and, and sort out the challenges that you have, irrespective of if you're a male or female. So
Yeah.
that's really how I. So the challenges I face are challenges on the job, and I believe that those challenges are opportunities to become better. And I don't also
Better.
believe that those challenges come to me because I am female. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Also, I also want to know we also want to know how do you collaborate with other teams or departments within your organization to align PR strategies with broader business goals? Like, what's your collaboration process like? What is it like?
Okay, so they say teamwork makes the dream work. When
Dreamwork.
you work
Yes.
together as a team, you're able to achieve a lot. I would say that the first thing you need to understand is the vision of the organization. Where are we headed? You have to understand your purpose as an organization. When you have that understanding, you also dig deeper to understand the objectives the organization wants to achieve, and then how would PR contribute to making to achieving those objectives. When you have that understanding, that's the baseline. So going forward, you now have projects that you need to work on. First, you have to understand the scope of the project, what needs to be done, understand the key stakeholders that will help you to achieve the objectives of the project, understand what the budget is, understand what the timelines are. So when you have this thorough 360 degrees view, you now start engaging the right stakeholders. Who needs to know about the project? Who needs to work with you? Who needs to be informed? Who needs to, to be engaged, and so on and so forth. So for me, it's about understanding the scope of what needs to be done, the project that needs to be done, and pulling in the stakeholders within the organization that would contribute to the success of that project. The other side of it is, being open for views and perspectives as well. How do we make this project work? What do we want to achieve? So you have to work collaboratively to achieve that. The other part of it is being able to bring people up to speed of some of the strategies that you have to deploy to achieve that project. If there's no understanding or a full, clear picture of how PR will bring that project to fruition, it's your job as the PR person to make sure that the benefits are clearly stated, and the impact that is going to have to the organization is also very clear.
Thank you so much for that. Also, we also want to know what are walk me through the successful campaigns or projects you have worked on as head of comms at Lafarge. What are the projects you've worked on? How were you able to do it? Was it hard? Was it easy? Was it tough? How are you able to complete such successful campaigns and projects?
Okay, so I think there are quite a number of them, things, different projects and campaigns that we work on from time to time. But some of them, I'll just mention maybe one or two. I remember quite well when we wanted to move from the ERP system that we had at the time to SAP. I was asked to be the change communications manager for that particular project. And it was a very interesting one for me because it made me to understand the different processes that we have within the organization, from sales to dispatch and so on and so forth. So how it started really was, like I had mentioned initially, is understanding the scope. We called it the discovery phase, and that was done in South Africa. We had different, the single points of contact, single points of contact, the spokes for the different streams of the project. We all had to, to walk through this discovery phase to understand the full scope of the project, what is required, the quantitative and the qualitative part. So it gave me a thorough understanding of what needed to be done. So what was my job? My job was to ensure that the organization, our people, understand the project itself, the reason for the project, and also to ensure buy-in, to ensure that there's no resistance to the project. I was also responsible of sharing the benefits. When you say what is in it for me, when you have a project, people need to know how it's going to benefit them, even in their personal lives. So that was really my job, and it's a full communications job. And that was in addition to my day-to-day as the country communications manager. So that was, it was a great experience for me. We had engagement sessions for internal stakeholders. We had engagement sessions for external stakeholders, including our suppliers and customers. We even had, I was able to, keep the organization up to speed with what was going on. We had newsletters, we had our daily information shared. Even when we are doing training of the users of the system, I worked with the team, the HR team, to bring that to fruition as well. So in the end, you ask, what was the benefit? Yes, people understood, what the project was about. People understood what the benefits of the projects were, and how it improved the way they did things, because of course technology helps to improve things and work, and so on and so forth. So that's one of them that I'm really, really proud of. The second is an ongoing one. It's not a project that has stopped, because we started in 2020. Is a thought leadership platform created for Lafarge Africa Plc, called Concrete Ideas. It's a conference where we bring together stakeholders from the public and private sectors to discuss very critical topics around the construction value chain. So coming from the time, the COVID time, when we had virtual conferences, to hybrid conferences, to fully physical conferences, it's been an interesting journey. And I think the part of it that makes me really happy is being able to make an impact, for people to see some key recommendations aimed at improving construction in Nigeria.
Does PR differ in Nigeria compared to other countries, like other countries? Do you think there's a difference, or do you think they're the same?
Okay. I think that the principles of public relations, they remain the same, right? But when you come to different countries, you need to consider a number of factors, including culture, the people, that would be the differentiating factor for me, because culture is going to help, is going to shape the way people understand the things that you say. In some countries, your gestures might turn out rude, while in other places, when you make the same gestures, they're not rude, right? So that understanding is there. So I believe that the principles of public relations are the same everywhere. It's just that you have to consider the cultural aspects of every client and adhere to it. Make sure that you're not stepping on toes. Make sure that you have a thorough perspective around how you review communication. So let me give you an instance. If you're working on an ad, and you're sharing it, you're not sharing it within your own country. You're working on an ad for another, for another clients, that is in another country. You have to be quite up to speed with the cultural nuances of that particular country, so that your copy doesn't offend people. So being able to have that strategic view of considering different aspects of communication for a particular country, or culture for a particular country, would help to shape the way you write, copies, communication, or even the way you engage with people, in the country. Yes.
Okay. Second to the last question, I have just 2 more questions. How do you stay updated with the latest industry trends and best practices in PR? Like, how do you always stay informed of, because everything now, there's the AI thing coming up. There's so many new things that is affecting the PR industry. So how do you stay on top? How do you stay informed of all the new things and the best practices in PR?
Okay, I'll say it's through reading. first of all, through reading, being conscious of the fact that the trends, evolve and they change from time to time, not just into what you've always known, and looking through magazines, of course, online magazines like the PR Week and so on and so forth, just seeing how your counterparts in other climes approach situations. It helps to broaden your mind and your scope. Reading, studying, if you have the opportunity to attend conferences or to take courses here and there, that will also help to broaden your mind and expose you to some new ideas and trends around public relations. And also technology, like you mentioned, when you have some new you have some new opportunities to use technology to improve the way you communicate and engage. Why not? It's about understanding the application, going through it, reading about it, understanding the challenges that people have, how it works, and the challenges people have whilst using those applications. So you cannot just sit at a place if you're a communications person. You have to open up your mind, you have to read wide, you have to understand the different trends and keep up with them.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. My last question, so I can let you go. What advice would you give PR practitioners who hope to climb the PR ladder? What advice would you give them?
All right. Yeah, I have a couple actually. I would say that for you to thoroughly understand the concept, you have to study, you have to experience it. That's the baseline for me. You cannot just jump into the PR industry without having some level of knowledge about it. And even if you find yourself in that space, you should have an open mind to learn. That can also help you to rise through the ranks. So the advice I would give would be, first, you could get a mentor within the field to help you navigate some of the challenges that you may encounter throughout your journey. I'll also say be open to feedback. They say feedback is the food of champions.
Okay.
So you have to be open to feedback, to get different perspectives from people that you respect and trust, so there's constructive feedback that can help you to improve and grow. I will also say that you should be open to reading, and practicing your craft. If you have to be in the PR industry, you have to be a good communicator, and that requires practice. So you have to be open-minded to do that. I'll say also stay humble, consistent, and willing to go the extra mile. It's actually a journey. You can't just get into the industry and find yourself at the top of the ladder. So it's a journey. You have to be patient. You have to have the right attitude and mindset, and then be willing to go the extra mile. That's what I would say.
Right. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us here today. We thank you and we are grateful. Thank you so much. Do have a lovely day.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited that we had to do this. Thank you.